In today's episode, I'm going to narrate 3-4 real life stories to warm your heart. These aren't just stories, they are living proof that when God says, I will fight for you and you shall hold your peace, He means it. He said this in Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. These are jaw-dropping real-world moments where it seems God quite literally stepped onto the battlefield for Israel. So buckle up. These are not your average history lessons. These true stories are not just to inform, but to shake your soul. This is God on the battlefield. And these are true stories of when He showed up for Israel unmistakably. The first is the Ghost Army of 1948, when angels dressed for war. If I could, I would take you to the dusty hills outside Jerusalem. It's 1948. Israel is just 1 day old, barely born, and already she's surrounded by seasoned Arab armies, armed to the teeth. Now picture this, a tiny Israeli outpost in the middle of nowhere manned by teenagers, farmers, Holocaust survivors. Some had never even held a rifle before. They are out of ammo, food's running low, and help? Nowhere in sight. But then something crazy happens. In the middle of the night, Arab soldiers, hundreds of them, start screaming and fleeing into the desert. Some even drop their rifles. Later, Israeli forces capture a few of them and ask, "Why did you run?" One prisoner says, "Because we saw an army, huge, shining warriors in white robes standing behind you." There were no reinforcements, no army in white, not on earth anyway. It was like Elisha all over again. In 2 Kings 6:17 we read, "And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw horses and chariots of fire." Israel didn't have backup on the ground. They had backup from heaven. The second story is the sandstorm that saved a nation. This happened in the Sinai desert in 1967. When you fast forward to the 6-day war, Israel surrounded again, outnumbered 3-1. Egypt controls the Sinai Peninsula and has laid down deadly minefields. One false step and boom, game over. An Israeli unit is ordered to cross one of those minefields. But here's the twist. They have no maps, no idea where the mines are. They are sitting ducks. So what do? They prayed. No, seriously. They dropped to their knees and asked God to make a way. A few minutes later, the sky darkens. A sudden violent sandstorm rises out of nowhere. It howls for hours. By morning, when the storm dies down, the sand has blown away, clearly revealing every single mine like breadcrumbs on a path. They crossed over untouched. One of the soldiers later said, "It was as if the hand of God came down and swept the way clear." If you have read Exodus, you already know the script. The Lord will fight for you and you shall hold your peace. The third story is about one tank, a lone tank, 1,000 fears. This is in the Golan Heights. The year is 1973. Let me paint this picture a little bit. It's Yom Kippur, the holiest day in Judaism. Israel is fasting. They are praying. The streets are silent. And that's when Egypt and Syria strike. Caught off guard, the Golan Heights, that is Israel's northern shield, is nearly undefended. Enter in a young Israeli tank commander with the name of Zwika green gold. He jumps into the only tank he can find. It's beat up, half working. No backup, no support. He starts engaging waves of Syrian tanks, dozens of them by himself. But Zwika's clever. He keeps changing positions so fast, firing from different spots, that the Syrians think they are facing an entire battalion. They panic, some retreat, others surrender. After 20 plus hours of non-stop combat, Zwika's still alive. His tank, a smoldering wreck. He steps out, smoke rising behind him. When asked how he did it, he just shook his head and said, "I wasn't alone out there." And I believe him, because David wasn't alone against Goliath either. The fourth story for today is Operation Entebbe, a raid from the hand of God. The year is 1976. A plane is hijacked and rerouted to Uganda. Over 100 Israeli and Jewish passengers are being held at gunpoint. The terrorists have a deadline and they mean business. Israel's leaders are told it can be done. The airport is 2,500 miles away. No time, no maps, no guarantees. But God doesn't work on human timelines. Israeli commandos launch a rescue mission so daring. It sounds like a movie plot, and they did make a movie out of it. They fly through enemy airspace, land under cover of night, and in under 60 minutes, rescue nearly every hostage. One of the terrorists was heard saying afterward, "We didn't think the Israelis had angels, but maybe they did." Even Time magazine called it, I quote, "a mission impossible except it happened," end of quote. Why do these stories matter to us? Because the God who fights for Israel isn't locked in the pages of ancient history. He's alive, he's active, he's a warrior who steps in when his people call on him. So next time you're up against the impossible, when you are outnumbered, outgunned, out of strength, remember, you don't need an army. You just need the commander of heaven's armies. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things with Christ who strengthens me." May God bless you.